And now Republican Senator Lindsey Graham joins us live here in Washington. Good evening, Senator.
This will be a tough story to follow.
I know it is I'm sorry, it is a tough story to follow, but you've at least got one that's equally captivating. That's the whole idea of what's going to happen with.
Well, this goes back to New York. We got other problems in New York.
We got other the KSM, the terrorist who the administration wanted to try in New York City, and now.
Well, let me lay out what I think we need to do. KSM being tried in New York is a bad idea. It makes no sense. It's the mastermind of 9/11. He planned the attacks on our nation. If he's not an enemy combatant at war with America deserving a military commission trial, who would be? It would take hundreds of millions of dollars to try him in New York. You'd be criminalizing the war, and the public just really got upset, as they should have, and I have been pushing the idea that we should not fund that trial. But that's not the only problem. I'm trying to work with this administration and the Congress to solve a lot of problems. One of them is get KSM back in military court where he belongs. But there have been 31 cases where the detainee went to a federal judge, a Gitmo detainee, and the judge ordered their release. We have no statute in this country dealing with that fact scenario. The judges have been very patient with the administration to try to find a way to get these guys out of Gitmo but not released in the United States. So I'm urging the administration to work with Congress to pass a statute that any time a judge rules the detainee should not be held by our military, transfer them to Homeland Security so we don't let these people out on the streets of the United States. So we need a new statute.
So where are they going to go if they get transferred into Homeland Security? They get sent to some other country and released?
Exactly. They will have a chance.
How's that different than releasing them to the other country to begin with?
Well, under the habeas law, as you know, the judge orders you released from custody of the government. The only reason they haven't been released in the United States is because the judges have been patient with the government, and they're begging Congress to help them. The judges in these habeas cases have said Congress needs to write some rules to deal with this situation. So what I think we ought to do, anytime a judge grants a habeas petition, we ought to have a place to put that detainee under Homeland Security control so they're not released on the streets of the United States, giving us time to find a place to put them. There are 48 people at Gitmo, according to this administration, that have been found to be enemy combatants that are being held without trial, and we need a statute that will give them an annual review process but legitimize the fact that you can hold somebody without trial.
Well, but does that still create the problem, though, is that, let's say that we go through the whole process and the procedure as you suggest, and Homeland Security releases someone goes back to Afghanistan or to Yemen or someplace else and trains and just gears up to come back for round two.
That's a terrible problem, but the Supreme Court said every detainee in Guantanamo Bay can go before a federal judge, and the government's got to prove they're an enemy combatant. 31 cases, the judge said, no, you didn't prove it to me, but the judge is worried about ordering that person released. Congress needs to get in this game. We need a statute that would make sure that person ordered released is not released in the United States because they could be very dangerous, and that's what I'm trying to do beyond get KSM back into military court.
What about Gitmo?
Okay, Gitmo itself. Gitmo itself is a well-run prison, but I believe that it continues to be a problem in the greater war effort that is being used by our enemies, and no allied partner, no nation will turn prisoners over to us now knowing they may go to Gitmo. President Bush wanted to close it. I think we need to look at closing it safely. That means a statute that would allow us to keep certain prisoners at Gitmo in prison as long as the military thinks they're dangerous. This idea the ACLU has that you got to try everybody in Gitmo, that's not right. We're not fighting crime, we're fighting a war. Under the law of war, you can hold an enemy prisoner without trial.
So you are actually working with the administration to close Gitmo?
I'm trying to work with the Congress and the administration and reject the ACLU's argument. The ACLU is telling the president, those 48 people you think are too dangerous to let go, we want you to try them. Well, if you force the administration to try them or let them go, some of them are going to be let go, and they'll go back to killing people. And that's not the choice you have to make. Congress needs to get involved and write statutes to solve this problem.
And just in a 10-second soundbite, you are in the military.
I've been a military lawyer for 30 years. I trust the military justice system. We're at war. We're not fighting a crime. Don't let the ACLU run this war.
All right. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
In 2 minutes.